Please welcome back to the stage Shari Bayer on what it takes to be all in.
Well, hello again. I'm the closer. When you're the host, you are the opener, the middle, and the closer. What it takes to be all in. To be all in. To give it your all. To be real, to be focused, to be passionate and driven, to be you, to be me. Aaron Oresvi, one of our speakers from our last panel, came up with our H.O.S.T 2020 theme. I'm giving him full credit. He suggested we go all in. The first two words of my All in the Industry podcast that I've been hosting now for over 6 years. I had been focusing on the other two words, the industry, as it is my whole life. It's my work, it's my passion, my social community. But what about all in? Those were my actions. And when I started thinking about it and thinking back more about my career in life, I realized I've always been all in, although I may not have recognized it fully until now. So thank you, Aaron. I'm a doer, not a planner. I take risks and I jump in, both figuratively and literally. I'll never forget my experience about 7 years ago when I took the biggest solo trip at the time around the world to Australia and New Zealand for my 40th birthday. I loved this trip, and one highlight was bungee jumping in Queenstown, the home of the original bungee. Now, I knew if I was there, I had to do it. I had to jump. It was completely situational. Bungee was not on my bucket list until then. The setting just dictated my experience with all my travels. It's kind of like when you're in Madison Square Park on a really nice day and you just have to get in line at Shake Shack. It's situational. So scared or not, I was all in. I signed up, signed in, and signed off, and it was my actual birthday. After I was led onto the Kauaru Bridge, which had a large spectator audience who were not jumping, but watching and cheering along, and my legs were tied to the cord, I wobbled to the edge, looking down over the water, and the countdown began. Smile at camera left. Wave at the right. And now, 3, 2, 1. Oh my, wait, I'm supposed to jump next? What to do? I heard the voice in my head saying. But in that split second, I knew what I had to do. I had to go for it. So I opened my arms up to the sky, took a deep breath, and took a giant swine dive into the air, going against every impulse my body had. Now, if I was a regular TEDx speaker, I'd have the video above for you guys to see, because I do have this on film. But trust me, I did it. And then I bounced and I swung, and eventually I landed on a yellow raft waiting for my arrival below. And guess what? Not only do I live to tell, but I had the biggest high I've ever had in my life afterwards. I went against fear, and I won. I was determined and driven. And the next day, I went skydiving for the first time. You know, YOLO. And I tell this not to say you need to experience A.J. Hackett bungee or skydiving, even though I would recommend them both. But I share this to inspire you not to be afraid to try something new and possibly scary. Sure, I have fear, but my desire to experience is greater, and I let that win. I'm all in. To give you some background, I grew up in sunny Miami, Florida, and 2 weeks after I turned 16 and got my driver's license, I went out and got my first job as a hostess at a local Mexican restaurant called Carlos and Pepe's. I reported this to my parents after the fact, the same as I did with bungee and pretty much everything I do. It's just better that way. But I came home with my surprise announcement that I wanted to work. And in a restaurant, I was all in. So there began my hospitality career. Yes, with the best chimichangas in town, which, by the way, I think are due for a comeback. Deep fried burritos, anyone? I went on to have summer jobs waiting tables at popular chain restaurants, including Bennigan's and Chili's, and then a cocktail server at a sports bar at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, where I proudly went to college, and Zingerman's was our special occasion place. I was also lucky to do a semester abroad in Florence, Italy, and do the backpacking thing in Europe, which opened my eyes to new cuisines and cultures and definitely gave me the travel bug. After college, I moved to Chicago with my liberal arts degree, not really sure what I wanted to do, but soon I found my way back to restaurants. Now, I had a lot of jobs in my 20s as I tried to figure things out, but they were all in the industry. I was an office manager at Rock Bottom Brewery, a bar manager at BW3, a cater waiter, a garde manger cook making $7 an hour at a jazz club, and I completed a 6-month culinary program at the Cooking Academy of Chicago, thinking I wanted to be a chef. My plan was to go to Europe and to cook. And then I saw an ad that Charlie Trotter was hiring. And I had his cookbook, and I flipped through it in awe. So I went in for the interview, and I was hired as a front of the house position, since I had more experience in the front than the back. As a server and a kitchen volunteer 1 shift a week, I considered this grad school in the culinary arts. Not only was I exposed to daily changing tasting menu with the finest ingredients, but I was constantly challenged working with the great Charlie Trotter. You certainly had to be all in. Being responsible for the restaurant's exclusive kitchen table while Charlie watched over was perhaps scarier than bungee, but what an amazing opportunity, and I'm so grateful I had it. After 3 years in Chicago, I decided to pack my bags for New York City, enrolling in NYU's graduate school food studies program. It was the perfect entryway for me into this new city, as I still searched for my ideal job. I dabbled in recipe testing, food styling, publishing, and I had some amazing internships. I worked with longtime culinary editor Jillian Duffy on New York Magazine's food issue, and then I had a full-time internship at Food Arts magazine working with distinguished Michael Batterberry, a true class act. And then eventually I found my way to PR, where I had the aha moment. This is what I can do. I can work with chefs and restaurants and help them grow their businesses and incorporate all of my culinary passion and my experiences into it. I went from KB Network News to Star Chefs and some freelance gigs to then embracing my entrepreneurial spirit and launching my own company, Bayer Public Relations, in 2003. Focusing on culinary and hospitality PR and marketing, my motto was and remains, be seen, be heard, be known. With hard work and determination, I was able to secure clients and build my own network. Committed, passionate, I sought to represent inspiring chefs and restaurants, and 16 years later, I'm still at it. I'm still all in. My clients have ranged from old school institutions like Capsuto Frere, to Manhattan staples like Sullivan Street Bakery, to local gems like Sushi Ishikawa, to top hotel venues including Spoken English at the Line Hotel in DC. And all along, I've remained a boutique, New York City-based agency, doing the work, having the client and media relationships, and representing myself at local and worldwide food and wine events. Then when BPR turned 10, a new idea arose. Why don't I do a podcast about the industry with all of the amazing contacts and relationships that I've made over the years, bringing behind-the-scenes talent to the forefront? And so I reached out to Aaron Fairbanks, former executive director of Heritage Radio Network, and pitched a new show, taped a pilot, and was given the green light, which I'm so grateful for. Starting in 2014, you could find me, and you could still find me, almost every Wednesday at 4 o'clock at Roberta's Restaurant in Bushwick, Brooklyn, doing my live show, All in the Industry. As host and producer, I dove in. I came up with my little bits: PR tip, speed round game, industry news discussion, solo dining, and the final question. Plus the interview, of course. And I discovered that I really liked being on the other side asking the questions and hearing other stories, and being a part of the HRN family with Katie and Kat and Hannah and Matt and all the fellow hosts and engineers. It's a fabulous crew. I started my podcast as a side passion project, and I've been humbled by who I've had the opportunity to interview, from Danny Meyer to Danielle Ballou, Massimo Bottura, Thomas Keller, Florence Fabricant, Ruth Reichel, and of course, Drew. Now, 239 episodes in, you could say, I'm all in, and I'm not stopping yet. I've taken my show on the road, covering conferences and festivals, from the Classic in Aspen to South Beach Food and Wine Festival, to Charleston Wine and Food Festival, and even to Hawaii. And last year, I challenged myself by doing red carpet interviews at the James Beard Awards at the Lyric Opera of Chicago. It was awesome, but oh so cold. Here's hoping for a real spring this year at Chi-Town. Meanwhile, I continue to embrace my solo dining and travel, booking trips near and far centered around food, making connections along the way. Have laptop, will travel is my favorite hashtag. As in reality, between all of those fabulous meals and occasional yoga shots that I post, I'm working and getting it done. I am my business. My social and work life are one. I travel for my love of restaurants, from their cuisine, energy, design, service, and hospitality. And I've written a bit about my solo dining travels, mostly on Fathom. I talk about them on my show as well, including traveling across the country to dine alone at the French Laundry, to spending a gazillion or so dollars on fine dining in San Sebastian, to discovering Oslo's incredible food scene, and seeking the best Portuguese egg tarts in Macau, China. I feel very fortunate to have the opportunity to travel and share my worldwide experiences. And I can't believe I reached platinum status with airline miles last year. Let's see if I can keep that up. And I will share something really personal to me. I've been doing all of this while also not drinking. Now, I don't make a big deal about my sobriety or talk about it very much, but I'm proud of it, very proud of it. I haven't had a drink in over 17 years. I got sober in August 2002, and I haven't looked back. Yes, the beginning was really hard. I had to change my ways and priorities, but in doing so, my life got better, so I stuck with it. And now, I really like not drinking, and by no means do I allow it to affect my career and what I want to do. I'm still all in. I rep restaurants and bars. I attend and even curate cocktail and wine dinners. I travel to and for food festivals that have all-inclusive beverages. And I enjoy dining solo at a bar with a greasy cheeseburger and a club soda. I'm very comfortable in social settings without the booze. And I have found over the years that most people don't even notice or care that I'm sipping water. There are, however, always those awkward moments that don't seem to go away, such as being sent out complimentary bubbly as a nice gesture while dining out, finding only alcoholic drinks at events, so relying on my own bottled water. And my favorite may be that after telling clients or colleagues that I don't drink, the response is, "Even wine?" I can't tell you how many times that has happened. Yes, even wine, it counts. Nevertheless, I know our industry has been changing, and not just with more thoughtful and delicious zero-proof drinks on menus, which are great, but there's now more of an open dialogue about sobriety and health issues and support awareness and realness, recognizing that not everyone wants to imbibe. It's nice to see we're going in that direction. So we come to today, the concept of bringing my show to life and connecting the industry. When I first shared this idea back in March 2018 with Keith Durst, one of our panelists, amazing panelists from this morning, I asked him what he thought. And he said, it sounded great. We'd support that. And so I was all in. H.O.S.T was born. Well, I didn't have the name yet, but the seed was planted. Let's come together for important conversations in a conference setting. but let's have a party first. So last summer, we celebrated 5+ years on the air with my All in the Industry show here at the William Vale on their beautiful rooftop. If you haven't been up there, you should go. Well, there's an ice rink up there now, but you should go. We announced that we'd be doing this summit. Let's take the dialogues that I was having with industry leaders on air to real-time talks on stage in a room of good energy. Let's make contact away from our phones and computers and create a forum for an exchange of ideas with fellow food and beverage professionals, igniting conversations over fabulous eats and drinks, a conference for the industry by the industry. So I created a new media and production company, All in the Industry, and started to reach out to my past show guests, seek partnerships, and form a team, as I knew I couldn't do this alone. And I was humbled by what I received. You were all in. And then the name came to me, H.O.S.T, Hospitality, Operations, Services, and Technology. 4 big pieces of our industry's puzzle that make it what it is today. Hospitality, how we treat one another. Operations, how we function and make systems work. Services, all of those invaluable extras that bring value to what we do. Technology, how we've advanced in a modern world. And host, a person who receives and entertains other people as guests or hosts. And that's me. Today is about learning, listening, and uniting. Smiling, hugging, shaking hands, exchanging business cards, and maybe even an Instagram selfie. It's about putting LinkedIn to life, Facebook to real faces, and smiles to the voices behind them. It's a summit plus social because it's meant to educate, inspire, and be fun and interactive, like our industry. I hope that's what you all get out of today. Sometimes I wonder how I got here. What pushes me to do and be more? I know it comes from within, but why do I do this? And us? And why do I think this and us are worth the investment? I never studied PR or podcasts or radio or conferences, mind you. I'm just someone who jumps in with ideas and is willing to do the work and figure it out and ask for help when I need it. I aim for perfection, knowing though that it's impossible. And although I've built a successful career in New York City for over 21 years, it hasn't been all roses. There have been many disappointments, stressful times, collection issues, and restaurant closings, as this industry is hard. But you have to be all in to make it. There's no half in hospitality. It's in or out. And probably, like many of you, this industry just sort of grabbed me and made me all in, and I'm glad it did. So I stand here today, completely humbled and grateful for each and every one of you. I look out at the familiar faces, and I'm so very thankful for the relationships that I've made over this crazy career of mine, as you are my industry family. Thank you all for being here with me and with us and being all in.